I thought I'd wear these glasses forever. Not fancy, not expensive, never meant to impress anyone. But they've been with me every single day for over a decade. Like a companion resting on my nose, always there, asking for nothing. Somehow, he became part of my life, until the day I had to consider saying goodbye. The leather once smooth was starting to crack, like dry skin. The edge pan had chipped off, flaking like an old wall. Even the shape had begun to change, shrinking, wrapping, like it was quietly catching up with him. And then I saw it, a tiny split at the corner. It felt like seeing an old friend wince in pain for the first time. It wasn't something I could ignore. Not anymore. I thought it would just be a simple rewrap. Just to take off the old leather and put on the new one with my own hands. Not to make him perfect, but to help him feel whole again. Like giving an old friend a new coat, so he could stay with me just like before. But once I got started, I realized it wasn't going to be simple. Not at all. I figured I'd just follow the same step as before. Design a pattern, pick the right leather, apply glue, press it down. It should have worked, but somehow it didn't. What I hadn't expected was this. Unlike real leather, the frame surface didn't absorb glue at all. The adhesive just sat there, seeking some spots, seeing others. Even when it looked right on the outside, I could feel the problem underneath. Trapped bubbles, uneven glue, a bumpy surface I couldn't ignore. If I kept going like this, I wouldn't be bringing my old friend back. I'd be ruining him. One wrong move and the only way to fix it was to tear it off. So I stopped, took a step back. I knew I had to get it right, even if I didn't have all the answers, even if I lacked the experience. I was determined to figure it out no matter what. That's the least I could do. So I decided to document our story to share it with you guys. Maybe you could hold onto something too, or something you want to bring back. And by the way, this is the full version of the project, but I'll be making shorter videos too. Share tips, mistakes, and a bit of what went on behind the scenes. If you are into leatherwork, those are coming soon for you. But for now, let's rewind back to the first thing I messed up, the pattern. At first, I just followed the same step as before and traced the outline with a pen. Since the frame was symmetrical, only half a pattern was needed at the time. Figured that I just flip it later for the other side. And because trimming would come after gluing at the final step, so precision didn't seem too important, just left enough margin. Besides, the half pattern had another purpose. The leather was scaled down to about 0.5 mm, hopefully thin enough, but there was no way to be sure until it was fully wrapped around the frame. So the quick test taught me a lot. The thickness felt right, so no problem there. Around the lens grooves, the margins still had to be refined. At the nose bridge, paper couldn't bend to check the shape. Only soft leather could reveal the real curve. Since the frame was three-dimensional, but the shape I traced with a pen wasn't accurate enough. For gluing, I started with a toothbrush. The brush head seemed like could reach the curves, but glue kept building up thick and messy, making it harder to apply evenly each time. That's when I realized I need the thinner to solve this problem later. So I moved on after the testing, started working on a cleaner full template, and tried wrapping the front side again. So I switched to a blade, cutting directly along the tape. hoping it'd be more accurate than using a pen. There wasn't a proper surface to cut on, so I used my finger as backing. Every time the blade pressed into my skin, I told myself, this cut is deep enough, this line is right. When I peeled off the tape and pressed it on the cardboard, it looked better than before, definitely more precise. But still, it wasn't what I wanted. Some edges had frayed. The shape had shifted a little. I didn't know how to fix it by that time. But deep down, I knew it wasn't good enough. The next trouble was still the glue. Back when I bought it, the brand also offered a thinner. I wasn't sure how it would come into play, but something deep down said that I needed it. Not maybe, definitely. I had already thinned the glue, hoping it would be spread more smoothly this time. That reminded me of an old method from bag making, using a glue bottle wrapped with cotton cloth, so I gave it a try. But the thin glue flowed too fast. It came rushing out in a thick wave. No control, no precision. And in that moment, it hit me. I wasn't fixing my old companion. I was destroying him, slowly, with my own hands. Finally, I found an old nylon pen I hadn't used in a long time. I didn't have much experience with thinning glue, and there was nothing to guide me, that's true. Too much thinner, and it might lose its strength. The frame was delicate with so many curves, so maybe if I brushed it slowly, little by little, it could work. It would take more time, I know, but at that point, I didn't care. I just kept it going on smooth with my new tool first. If I turned out too weak, well, and maybe I'll just let it dry and then try a second coat. I wasn't sure, but it felt like the only thing I could do. So I tested little by little, and finally, I found that this method worked. Even better, the glue held up just fine in the end. So you know what? This one step forward gave me the confidence to keep going. And by the way, for those of you who enjoy leather crafting work like this, I'll be editing several videos later just to go deeper into the template making and glue techniques. So don't worry, it's coming soon. That tiny breakthrough with the glue gave me momentum. For the first time in a while, I feel like things were finally moving into the right direction. With each tiny step forward, I finally managed to glue the leather onto the frame. For a moment, I really thought, that's it. He's almost back. I cannot wait to grab the lenses, waiting to see his face again. Just for a second, sharp, familiar, like the friend I remembered. But things didn't go as planned. No matter how I turned the lenses, they just wouldn't fit. They were always just a little off. Maybe if I applied a bit more pressure, I could squeeze them in. But the moment I pushed, the leather cracked under my fingers. Another hit from reality, hard and forgiving. I figured maybe the new leather was too fresh, too elastic. Was scavenging the leather down to 0.5 millimeters still too thick? I wondered. But if I went thinner, it wouldn't hold up for real. Or maybe I should have cleaned up the extra leather inside the grooves before trying to install the lenses to make more space. But how? How could I even trim it in there? Even if I did it, the crack didn't happen in the grooves. It broke somewhere else. I suffered. Finally, as I thought, there was only one path left. I had to install the lenses before wrapping the leather. Lenses first, leather second. That was the only way forward. The truth was, my last template wouldn't fit it anymore. It was built for a process I now had to abandon. If the lenses had to go in first, then every millimeter mattered. But that wasn't the only issue. I also made the mistake last time, cutting all the way through the craft tape, then peeling and placing the pieces one by one onto the cardboard. That caused the frayed edges, subtle wrapping I couldn't control. It looked fine at first, but deep down I knew the shape wasn't true. This time I needed a cleaner way. I didn't cut all the way through, deep enough to leave a clear outline. Finally got it, and gently pressed it onto the paper. That kept everything nice and steady. I realized that wasn't just about wrapping leather on the frame. It was about staying calm. The process for the arms were more or less the same. So I ran into a few issues there too. So I'll be editing a separate video just for that, to share the mistakes I made and how I fixed them. The moment I had both pieces in place, every small step, gluing better, cutting cleaner, planning smarter, taught me something. Taking my time, doing things carefully. That, to me, is what it means to be finished. Just the way I hoped. I knew it in my heart. My old friend was back, ready to be with me again every single day. Of course, I still remember how it used to look. The cracks, the wrinkles, the wrapped corners, and every step I took this time wasn't just about fixing it. It was healing. Time didn't turn them new again. They are still worn, still old, but somehow we understand each other now in a quiet, unspoken way. They are not perfect, but they feel honest. Leather edges, hands shake, but as long as the heart is steady, things can come back to life. That's why I love them more than ever. Thanks for sticking around till the end. It's been a long road, and there's still more to share. See you next time.